Welcome to 6th grade health. This is for lesson 138. This is a chapter 1 and 2 review, and so I'm going to ask a lot of questions. We're going to go over some material that you're going to need to know for the test, and then you're going to take that in the next lesson. Okay? So first of all, the first thing that you need to know are the bicycle hand signals. And before all this started, I had McKinley make some flashcards, but because of everything that's happened, I actually don't know where those are. So we'll just go with me showing the signal, and then you tell me what that signal is, okay? So if this arm is straight out, what is that telling? The cars or the drivers? Okay, maybe I'll back this up a little bit and get a little bit bigger view. Okay, let me adjust that. Okay, there we go. So if the arm is straight out like this, what is that? It signals a left turn, okay? What about if your arm looks like this? It means you're slowing or stopping, okay? What about if your arm is up like this? It is a right turn. You could also have it being over here, but most bicyclists do everything with their left hand, okay? So they hold on with their right and everything's with their left. So left turn, slow stop, right turn, okay? And so those are your hand signals. And some different things that we're gonna look at, and I'm gonna ask some questions, and we're gonna play a game. But because you guys are at home and I am here, I cannot hear your answers, and I can't say who said it first. So, but we're gonna just see. I know you guys enjoy games, and so what I want you to do is I want you to have a piece of paper, or if at home you have a little whiteboard or a little chalkboard or something, you can use that. Keep track of your own points. If you say it before I say the answer, and it's pretty close, if it's not the exact wording of like a definition or something, give yourself a point. You can, if you want to do this like we've done in class where you have a tic-tac-toe board and you just see how many 3 in a rows you can get. If you don't get it ahead of me, then I get a point or a letter or the X or the O on that. And so we'll try that. I'm gonna move the cart back this way. All right, sorry about that. So we'll get started, and I will just start asking questions, and I'll give the answer, but I'll pause a second so that you can see if you can say it before I do. All right, so first of all, I'm going to give a definition. What is the practice of being accompanied by someone else? The practice of being accompanied by someone else. That's the buddy system. Good job if you got it. If not, just keep working, keep trying to get those. Being aware of and following rules that help prevent accidents. What is that? Being aware of and following rules that help prevent accidents. That is being safety conscious, okay? What about the freezing of body tissue? What is the freezing of body tissue? That would be frostbite. All right. Here's a slightly different style of question. When would you use this technique? When would you use stop, drop, and roll? Stop, drop, and roll. Okay, if your clothing is on fire, you want to stop moving, drop to the ground, and roll back and forth, okay? Or drop to the floor and roll back and forth. And so that's if your clothing catches on fire. All right. Let's see. All right, let's go back up here. What may result from exposure to excessive heat over time caused by the loss of water and sodium from the body? That would be heat exhaustion. Heat exhaustion, okay? A deep cavity on each side of a snake's snout between its eye and nostril. What is a deep cavity on each side of a snake's snout between its eye and nostril? That's a pit. That's where we get the name of pit viper for the different types of snakes that are pit vipers. This is the pit on the side of their nose. What is a storm with violent wind and heavy rain? A storm with violent wind and heavy rain. That would be a hurricane. A hurricane, okay? A life-threatening emergency that is caused by prolonged exposure to high temperatures. The body is unable to perspire. What is a life-threatening emergency that is caused by prolonged exposure to high temperatures? The body is unable to perspire. The answer would be heat stroke, okay? And that's life-threatening. Keep that in mind. That's the difference between heat exhaustion and heat stroke, is that it's life-threatening and your body cannot it can't perspire, which means that you can't let out the sweat from your body, and when it holds it in, it's very, very serious, okay? When would you use this technique? The heat escape lessening posture, help posture. That would be to survive in cold water, okay? The heat escape lessening posture, it kind of looks like the fetal position. You're curled up in the water, and that helps your body let go of less heat at a time, okay? What about the survival float? When would you use the survival float? You would use it to avoid most kinds of drowning incidents, to stay afloat for hours or even days in warm water, okay? So warm water, you don't have to worry about your body losing that heat because you've got warm water around you. But you do need to be able to stay afloat, and so that's when you would use it, okay? Safety, I'm gonna give you some safety tips and you're gonna tell me what type of safety it is, okay? So you may have only 1 minute to escape from a house. If the door feels hot, do not open it. Have a planned meeting place. So what type of safety is that? That would be fire safety, okay? Drop to your knees, bend forward, avoid being the tallest object around. When would you need to do that? If there's lightning, okay, hope you got that. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna skip something. Always wear a helmet, ride on roads that have little traffic and on extreme right side of road, follow all traffic signs, use proper hand signals, watch for cars backing out of driveways, and be sure drivers can see you at dusk and after dark. Okay, you may know that I skipped something that gives the answer, so what is that? That would be bike safety. And what I skipped was keep your bike in good working order, okay? All right. Never leave a fire unattended. Keep handles of pots turned away from front of stove. In a grease fire cover pan with a lid or smother fire with salt or baking soda. Remember to turn off appliances. What would that be? That would be fire prevention, okay? You want to make sure that you try to prevent the fire. There's ways to keep you safe if there is a fire, but if we can prevent it, that's even better. Drink plenty of water and wear light clothes in hot weather. Never swim alone. In unfamiliar water, go feet first. Exercise caution with swimming in ocean. Swim parallel to shore rather than away from it. Do not sled down or across the street. Never play or skate on ice without permission for that day. Never hike alone. Wear brightly colored clothing when near woods during hunting season. Do not start a campfire yourself. So what are those things? Safety. What type of safety? That would be sports safety. And we've already went over stop, drop, and roll. So if your clothing's on fire, stop moving, don't run, drop to the floor, roll on your back and roll back and forth, okay? So let's move on to what you do in the following situations, okay? How to avoid electrocution. Okay. All right, you want to occasionally check the cords of lamps, toasters, other appliances to see if they're in good condition. You should never place electrical extension cords under rugs. Do not stand in water when you plug in an appliance, okay? What about during a thunderstorm? What should you do during a thunderstorm or not do? Stay away from water. If possible, avoid anything electrical. Stay away from wires and cables that have been blown down, okay? All right, I'm gonna move on and I'm gonna ask some questions from chapter 2, some of the first aid. So what are the 3 types of burns that you can get? The 3 types of burns, okay? Not how deep it goes, but the 3 types, how you can get burned, okay? So there's, the first one would be thermal, and then there's electrical and chemical, okay? If you get a chemical burn, what should you do? Chemical burn, you should rinse the area with warm water and soap and avoid having that run onto other parts of your skin, okay? Let's see, on this, I'm just gonna give you the term and I want you to say the definition. So, what is first aid? What is first aid? It's the emergency care given to a person who is injured or suddenly becomes ill. Okay, so if you got close to that, you can give yourself a point. What is a wound? A wound. Any break in the skin or mucous membrane. Dangers are bleeding and infection. Okay. What about gangrene? Gangrene. What is that? It's the decay of body tissue. Gangrene. So that would come after frostbite. So frostbite is the freezing of the body temperature and then it starts decaying and that's the gangrene, okay? What is the epidermis? Epidermis is the outer layer of your skin. Okay, a medical emergency is what? Any kind of sickness or injury requiring immediate care is a medical emergency. What is a pressure point? The point at which pressure should be applied to slow or stop breathing, okay? And you're gonna need to know the pressure points on the diagram on page 42, so make sure that you study that for this test. What is the Heimlich maneuver? Or also called the abdominal thrust. It's the procedure used to expel an object from a choking victim, okay? What is a splint? It's a support to an injured body to prevent movement and further damage, okay? Hope you're getting these. What is a nosebleed? Nosebleed. It's bleeding from the nose that may be caused by a nose injury, strenuous activity, high blood pressure, exposure to high altitudes, as well as by blowing your nose too hard, okay? All right. What is hypothermia? Hypothermia occurs when the body temperature drops below normal, okay? What's the paramedic? Paramedic receives the same training as an EMT, along with extra courses in which he learns to perform advanced life-saving procedures. Okay, that's paramedic. What is rescue breathing? It's artificial respiration and involves helping a victim to breathe until he is able to breathe on his own. What is the subcutaneous? Pardon me, is the third layer of skin. What is neurotoxic? Neurotoxic. That would be substances that poison the nerves, and that one comes from the coral snake bite, okay? Poison, what is poison? Any substance which causes harm, illness, or even death when eaten, drunk, or otherwise absorbed into the body is poison. And your dermis, what is that? That would be your second layer of skin, is your dermis. And then antivenin, what is that? That would be the serum used for treating snake bites, okay? Quickly, we're just gonna go over the couple different things. What does EMT stand for? EMT. That would be an emergency medical technician, okay? Emergency medical technician. What about RICE? What does that stand for? The RICE method. Okay, this one, I like this method. I use it all the time when I injure myself or when I'm helping someone else. Rest, ice, compression, and elevation, okay? And what are the ABCs of first aid? 3 things we check first, so the ABCs of first aid. Airways is A, breathing is 2, and circulation is, airways is A, breathing is B, and circulation is C. Okay, I changed what I was saying. All right. What I would suggest is to study these chapter checkups really well for the test. And also you can go through and study the quick checks. And then any of the health worksheets that you have been doing, or anatomy worksheets, I'm not sure which ones, but any of those that you've done, go over those, any quizzes. This test is in the next lesson, so as soon as you have studied well and you are prepared, and your parents feel like you're ready, then you can take that test and you can, I hope you do well on that. So I will let you go for now.